Well, this is an incredibly bright and promising day in Laker history, and wanted to welcome everybody here first and foremost, and especially Coach Ham's family, his wife Dee and DJ and Nick and Don. Welcome to the Lakers family. This is a special place to be, and we're really excited to have you here. Turning to Coach Ham, it's easy to be grateful when you find a candidate that you feel is the ideal fit for what the franchise is looking for. And that's what Coach Ham represents to us. When you have a career coaching journey that starts out in the G League and you earn your stripes as a GM and as a head coach, and your arc takes you to strong franchises that have had success, including a championship at his last stop as a lead assistant coach on the Milwaukee Bucks, you have a certain DNA and fabric and strength of character. And it came through so powerfully to everybody in the coaches committee when we did our interviews. And we were able to land on Coach Ham as our unanimous choice to recommend to our owner, Jeannie Buss, for her approval. And I'm just incredibly proud to be able to sit next to him for what he stands for as a man, as a coach, as a dad, as a husband, and to arm together to lead this franchise to the next chapter. This is a historic day for us, and just couldn't be more excited as a general manager to introduce Darvin Ham as the new Lakers head coach.
Well, first of all, I want to thank God. Coming from where I come from, you know, I was raised in a household of a strong spiritual faith, belief in God and Son Jesus Christ. So I want to start with that. Everything I've been able to overcome in my life, along with the people around me, it's been that spirit that was instilled in me as a youngster. I want to thank my wife, my children, my friends. I got my good friends here, everybody that has supported me, put their arms around me in tough times and great times, but who have remained consistent over the course of my life. My agent Spencer and his family, it's been one heck of a ride, and the gift that just keeps on giving. And I want to thank Jeannie and the rest of the Buss family, Joey, Jesse, Johnny, Janie. Everybody is just like, it's like coming back home. And as sad as it is for me to be leaving, you know, one of my Coach Bud is, you know, sometimes you got to walk that walk on your own. I'm forever grateful for him and what he did for me in my career. I couldn't be sitting in this chair without him allowing me to learn, grow, and excel on his watch. I love him to death. We went from colleagues to friends to brothers, all the while having the opportunity to make history. And the same thing I plan to come here and instill in this program and get us back to the top of the food chain, along with the help with Rob. We're going to collaborate, communicate, and to make sure we also demonstrate. And we have a strong basketball team and basketball ops. We're going to put together a strong staff. And I think sky's the limit. We're not putting a ceiling on our situation. And we'll go as far as our daily preparation takes us. You hear people, well, are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? We're going to get better every day. That's what we're going to do. And the things we're going to do in that daily process will lead to the type of success this franchise and this city has been accustomed to. So thank you. Thank you again.
If you wouldn't mind just kind of introducing yourself before you ask your question, that would be great. We're going to kick it off with Mike Trudell.
Hey, Darvin, Mike Trudell with the Lakers and Spectrum Sportsnet. Nice to see you again.
Yes, indeed.
Rob alluded to a lot of the stops in your path, Darvin, and just wondered, coming from Saginaw, going to college, grinding through the NBA, now an assistant coach, how did all that shape you into a vision of what you want to be as a head coach and a leader?
I think it makes you more appreciative. And, you know, I wasn't blessed with this otherworldly talent. You know, I was a pretty good athlete that could hold my own on the court a little bit, but still the sweet jump shots or the no-look passes, that wasn't my game. So just having to be a blue-collar type contributor on a lot of various teams, from high school to junior college to Texas Tech to the pros, like the championship team in Detroit, I think it prepares you, and it creates a certain type of mentality to where you don't want to cut any corners. Like, you have to make sure you're on point, understand what the details are, whether we're watching film and you're talking about coverages or your workouts in the summertime, being specifically locked in on what it is your job is going to be. And being able to coach these guys at this level, that's, you know, everybody here that's playing in the NBA has talent. But how do you focus that talent in the right areas, in the right directions, so your team can thrive, you know, based on as being one of many contributions. And you know, we know we have our stars and Bron, AD, Russ, and the like, and but it's those Austin Reeves, it's those Stanley Johnsons, you know, these guys, the more they continue to get better, sometimes it's the most fulfilling because they're growing. You're developing and growing your kids from within, and I've seen that happen when we were in Atlanta. I saw it happen in Milwaukee, and I wholeheartedly anticipate it happening here in LA.
Yeah, Coach Jim Hill, CBS2 and KCAL9. First of all, welcome back. Good
Thanks,
to see you again. This is a very emotional day for you, and you almost let your emotions get the better of you just a couple of moments ago. I'd like for you to talk about the emotions that you have going through you today and how easy it was for you to make a decision to come here knowing the background of what the Lakers mean to this community as opposed to going someplace else.
Well, you know, they made the decision, and I was wholeheartedly open for it. It's the emotion comes from when you've been with a special person in this business for the last 9 years, and Coach Bud, and, you know, having started out with him in Atlanta his first day as a head coach, and now getting to leave. And I thanked him. I said, well, at least you dropped me off where you picked me up at, because he picked me up from here in L.A. So the fact that I'm coming back to L.A., he was thrilled, super thrilled. He and John Horst, Milt Newton, that whole staff up there, man, all the coaches and front office and the performance team. I mean, we're all like family. It's a family setting. But knowing that this is the team and the franchise that gave me my start, you know, albeit it was Mike Brown that hired me, you know, the Buss family had to sign off on it. And the fact that I got my start as a coach here, this place will always be special to me, always was special to me, always paid attention to what was going on with the Lakers, even in my other travels through Atlanta and Milwaukee. So it's like a homecoming for me in all seriousness. Yep.
Hey, Darvin. Dan Wicke with the Los Angeles Times. One of the things that people say about you as a coach is that you're well-rounded. Do you view yourself more as a defensive coach, as an offensive coach? And I guess, what can you tell us about kind of your on-court vision for, obviously the players have to kind of come together, but what does Darvin Ham team look like on the court?
I mean, I think it's a 360-degree coaching style, meaning both parts of the floor are connected. You know, you hear about these offensive gurus or these defensive gurus. Both sides of the ball affect one another. If you're able to play great defense, then your offense is going to look great because you're not playing against a set defense. If you're allowing people to score, then your offense is going to struggle because you're playing against a set defense. So you just have to be well-rounded. And we used to talk about that a lot in our coaches' meetings with Coach Bud. You know, you have these offensive guys, your defensive guys. So when the defensive guy is watching the defense, when the ball goes on offense, does he drop his head and stop paying attention to the game? It's like you have to watch the game in its totality. And everything you do from the practice floor, the preparation is the key to it, because it's the practice floor, it's the individual workouts in the summer, the practice floor, shoot around, and the game floor. But they all have to be connected with a lot of film in between. So the way we develop our guys, we make them cerebral players by watching film and then making sure what they watch in the film translates to the game floor. And once we get on the game floor, we're going to understand like who's supposed to be doing what, but we're all together. We're all united and locked in. Everyone has each other's back, and it makes it for a more fun environment. But it's more about the environment, more about, again, the culture you set just being competitive, being together, and being accountable.
Hi, Kyle Goon, Orange County Register. Coach, when you were going through the process, obviously, like you said, everybody's got to be accountable and buy into the culture. But how much of your vision is sort of founded on the idea of how LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook can play together after that this team didn't get the results it wanted out of that group last year?
Well, it's how can they compete together? You know what I'm saying? Like, it starts on the defensive end, and from there we're going to build back toward the offense. I think the type of spacing, a four out, one in style, which I'm going to implement, is going to help all parties. My goal is, again, continue with the development of our younger players and to make those guys comfortable where they're not having to run to a telephone booth and throw a cape on and try to save the day. Everything has to be a team effort. Again, competitive, together, and accountable. And if there's mistakes made, I have to be able to coach those three guys like I do the rest of the roster. It can't be, we have the saying, it's like facts over feelings. And, once you see the film and it's a fact that you missed your assignment, then that has to be pointed out. Because if I can't point that out to one of our big three, then the last man or somebody in the rotation, they're not going to take what we're doing seriously. So it has to be consistent across the board.
Hey, Darvin, congratulations. Bill Oram with the Athletic. Specifically on Russ, a lot has been made about his fit with LeBron, and we didn't see it a ton last year with injuries, but how do you see those three working together? How do you see Russ fitting? And I guess you do see him here, I guess, based on the way you're talking.
Absolutely. I mean, just our running habits. And Russell, don't get it messed up. Russ is one of the best players our league has ever seen, and there's still a ton left in that tank. I don't know why people tend to try to write him off. I'm going to approach him like I do every player I've ever encountered. We're going to talk about our running habits with the ball, without the ball, and again, the team, the rhythm of the team, and trying to establish a rhythm with LeBron, Russ, AD, and again, share the load defensively and offensively. Defensively is where you're going to see us make our biggest leaps and bounds. We have to commit to the defensive side of the ball, or we don't have a chance to do anything. The offense won't even matter if we don't get stops.
Hey, Darvin, Mike Bresnan, Spectrum
Brez?
Sportsnet. Good to see you again. When you look at LeBron, both when you played against him this year and just in general on tape and film and whatnot, what comes across for a guy who will be 38 in about 6 months?
Just maintenance. And he's done a phenomenal job his entire career taking care of his body and spending the resources and provide himself with the right people around him to make sure he's able to sustain the type of level you see him play at even to this day. So just being and not just Bron, but AD, Russ, our entire group, like we're really, really player health conscious. Like we'll get with the performance team, build out a plan for everybody. And again, the plan is to get stronger as the season gets longer. So that'll be my number one goal, is to try to lessen some of the wear and tear on LeBron, because, I feel like he's shown that that level he's playing at is not going anywhere anytime soon. So I just want to try to help and assist him with being able to sustain that level.
Hey, Darvin. Welcome back to LA.
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Good to see you. Dave McGuire with ESPN. You've had an opportunity to interview for a handful of jobs over the years. And when you hear Rob today say you were the unanimous choice of this coaching selection committee, considering the enormity of this job, considering I think you're only the 28th guy ever to lead this franchise that has 17 banners, why do you think everything came together this time for you?
Timing is everything. Like I said, I put my faith in God. He's the master of all plans, and I just want to take this time to thank all of those teams that passed on me so I can end up right back where I need to be, with Rob and the Buss family. So it's all good. I'm good, trust me. But, you live, you learn, and you seek out an opportunity. If you don't get it, you just keep getting better. Keep trying to add more things to your repertoire.
Hey, Hey, Darvin. Yovan Buha with The Athletic. You mentioned your relationship with Bud, and I was curious, how much do you plan on implementing from what you guys did in Atlanta and Milwaukee over the last 9 years? And then also working specifically with Giannis. You know, they're different players, but Giannis, LeBron, and AD all kind of have that athleticism and some similarities with the way they play in the paint. How did working with Giannis kind of inform maybe how you'll approach working with LeBron and AD?
I think it's more system-based, and yes, we were able to build a proven commodity in the way we played offense, the way we defended during Bud and my time together. But in terms of AD, Giannis, the comparisons, they're slightly different players, but they're both dynamic in the sense that they're multifaceted to be at the size that they're at. And a lot of the ground gets made up in just the breakdowns, the defensive breakdowns and the offensive breakdowns. Those guys you can throw it to them and they can go get you a bucket. But how easy will that bucket be? Like, we have to get the ball going side to side. We have a term, play with the pass, like share the ball, make it easy on yourself. Instead of going 1-on-4, 1-on-5, you go play with your teammate. And now it's a 3-on-2 situation or a 2-on-1 situation because you just moved the ball. You didn't sit, hold it, dribble 18 times. Like, it has to be a rhythm, ball and body movement. But Giannis is unique because we had different people that took the lead on him in his individual workouts, but the things we would do in terms of our offensive breakdowns and our defensive breakdowns would actually give him more. So when it came time for him to play one-on-one, it was easy. You know, I mean, you had to account for other people. So now there's different driving lanes or there's more space. And again, it goes back to the type of rosters we were able to build and put the type of players around him that's we're going to do here. When Rob and I collaborate, we're going to dive in and put the best roster out there that we possibly can to support our big three.
Dylan Hernandez here, LA Times. Darvin, have you spoken to Russ Westbrook? And two, has there been any discussion among you guys about maybe a change in role for him, maybe coming off the bench? And for Rob, after what you saw last season, talking to Darvin, what made you think, this is a workable situation with Westbrook?
Yeah, I would say yes. Russ and I have had some really, really great one-on-one convos, man. And the biggest word I think came out of those discussions were sacrifice. That was the biggest word. It was sacrifice. We're going to sacrifice whatever we got to do. And it's not just Russ. There's going to be sacrifices that LeBron has to make, that AD has to make, on down the line through the rest of our roster. Again, we have to start on the defensive end. And in terms of what his role is going to be, I'm going to expect him to be the same tenacious, high-energy player that he's been on his entire career. A lot of it now may happen without the ball in his hand. Most of it now may happen on the defensive end. But, again, we have to sacrifice. There's no achieving anything without all parties, sharing the load, sacrificing, and depending on one another.
Just to follow and leverage off what Darvin's saying, I think all of us would agree that teams, whether it's in any sport, take on the identity of the head coach. And the things that stood out to Darvin in the interview process was the two words he's been using. One is sacrifice. He was a player in the league that made every sacrifice to be great. He wasn't a superstar. He knew what it took to be in the gaps, to do the little things to make his teams great, like the championship team he was on. And then toughness. I think one of the things we lacked as a team last year is an identity of toughness. And I think we're excited to see how Coach, with his leadership style, will bring those attributes to our team next year. And as he said, there's going to be expectations, especially on the defensive end, that those words carry forward, words like toughness and sacrifice and accountability. And that's what Coach Ham's leadership stands for and represents.
Darvin, over here. Brad Tony with the LA Times. Welcome. How will you deal with the stress and pressure of being a first-time coach with a franchise that expects to win titles all the time?
I grew up in Saginaw, Michigan. I was shot in the face by accident April 5th, 1988. You go through something like that, it's going to do one or two things. It's going to make you fearful or fearless. It made me fearless. I don't feel no pressure. It's basketball. You want to talk about some of our military representatives across the seas fight for our democracy. That's pressure. This here is a challenge, and it's something that can be navigated. We have a great partnership, me and Rob, that's going to grow and continue to build. We have great ownership group. We have great people around our building, great people involved in our personnel decisions. I look forward to it. Like I wanted to talk. I talked to LeBron my first day in the gym, and I wanted to start training camp the next day. I got so excited, and just to hear his excitement over the phone is like, man, and to see Russ and talk to AD and talk to Russ, and it just. These guys, you know, they're not great by mistake, and they want to be able to do something. And I know all of them feel this way. They want to be able to do something collectively that's great. Put another banner in this building, and it starts right now. So that's just a challenge. That's not pressure. I've seen real pressure in life. So to me, this is fun. This is something that's going to be joyful, something we're going to look back on, remember these days, and when we're popping bottles of champagne somewhere, celebrating another banner going up.
Hi, Coach Ham. Kyle Kraska, Fox 11 LA. Welcome back. You just touched on it a bit, but could you tell us more about your reaction to how the players have seemingly accepted you once hearing that you were the head coach, either by way of conversations or by the way they responded on their social media?
I mean, it's been phenomenal. And just, you know, I came in the league as a player in 1996. Played 8 years, won a championship, played overseas. Worked in what was then known as the D-League at the time for 4 years, and then now going into my 12th year as an NBA coach, 11 as an assistant, now a head coach. And in our time passing, you know, my parents raised me to be able to engage people in a respectful, loving manner. And you show love and respect to get love and respect. So when I see these guys, and I'm actually one of the ones that actually walked in their shoes, I don't mind taking 5, 10, 20 seconds, a couple of minutes to stop, say hello, see how he's doing, see how his family's doing, ask about his people, his loved ones, if there's any advice he needs to get better or whatever. And then the bubble. When we were in the bubble, one of the positive things that came out of the bubble was the fact that we were all in the same space. So I could see Rob riding a bike every other day, or see him having breakfast or something. See LeBron over there, you know, fishing or riding a bike as well. Or we over there, you know, having cigars or something. Like, we got to engage one another and see the human side of one another. So a lot of those tweets and the messages I've gotten from different players I've coached, players who no longer in the league, some are still in the league, I attribute that to just being common and just being a good source of energy. And it was humbling. Like, it's a little overwhelming at times. Like, man, just to see all the love. I mean, I just thank God for it.
Hey, Coach, over here. Oh, Coach Darvin. Congratulations, welcome back.
Thank you.
You're a first-time coach, and you can only be a first-time coach. And every coach who at some point was a first-time coach, but you don't have the proven track record of making those decisions. It's a very high-pressure job, and you've already expressed how you feel about that. How were you able to assuage or convince the Lakers that was something that wasn't an issue with you? And maybe Rob can chime in on what that meant to you guys.
Yeah, I'll just start by saying I think, you know, you can look at the NBA Finals right now. You can say Coach Kerr and Coach Udoka. Those are both first-time coaches. And when you go through an interview process and you come across someone that's incredibly talented and special with unique characteristics that you think are perfectly aligned with what you're looking for this team, that becomes a moot point. And I think the guys in the NBA Finals deserve praise for starting like they did and getting all the way to where they are now. And we have full confidence that that's what Darvin's story is going to look like here.
We'll take a question off of Zoom, Jim Alexander, and then we'll have time for 2 follow-ups.
Jim Alexander. Me? I couldn't hear. I'm sorry. Jim Alexander from the Southern California News Group. Darvin, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
What you've seen from the last 2 or 3 years of the Lakers from the other sideline, from the other bench, How helpful is that going to be in, or has already been in, figuring out how you're going to be able to use the superstars and how to work other guys in, and what the flaws and what the advantages are?
Well, since I left LA in 2013 and joined Coach Bud, the Lakers have been my scout. They've been my scout, the team, one of the teams, many teams that I would prepare our team for. And, you know, you've had some really qualified, high-level coaches in that seat. But the thing is, it's whether you're a first-timer or what they call a retread or whatever, it's not you've had multiple jobs. The key is to have a plan, a consistent plan that you tap into daily, and to have a standard that's set on both sides of the ball. You know, defensively, can we contain? Can we contest? Can we control the rebound? Offensively, can we run with pace and our running habits? Can we run with space and have a force and a physicality to the way we play? You know, all predicated on ball and body movement. And you have to preach those principles until you're blue in the face. And it's going to be times where, you know, we're going to have philosophical disagreements. And, you know, just we may have to get out on the floor and walk through some stuff over and over and over again. But those basic tenets, like, you're not going to have success without it. But you have to be in a position to, again, strive to execute that plan daily. You set forth a plan, you get your staff together, you get a great roster full of players, not just the big three, but a lot of serviceable players that can help in different areas. And you all establish a plan of action, and we execute that plan daily.
Darvin, just wanted to ask you about your time here with Kobe and kind of also playing against him, but getting to know him, how that impacted you, and especially when you were an assistant and you spent all that time here in the practice court across the street with him.
Oh man, it was great, and God rest his soul, man. We spent a lot of time together on the practice floor, individual workouts, watching film, watching clips, and if I can go back and forth with him and have him disagree with me and then double back and tell me I was right. And we all know how stubborn he was, man. It's just, it just gave me a wealth of confidence, man, in myself as a coach. And, you know, just seeing him and him sharing with me the different ways he saw the game. But just, and even with Russ, LeBron, AD, all these guys, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, all these guys I've been, Al Horford, Paul Millsap, these guys I've been able to coach and be around and learn from them. It's a two-way street. It's not just this coach that thinks he knows it all and he's just barking orders. No, you have to be able to, again, to collaborate, communicate, and understand each other. And not your way or my way, but what's the best way to go forward? What's the best plan for all of us? So Kobe was right, you know, at the forefront of that in my own development as a coach. You know, just the workouts we would do on the court, the type of film we would watch, dinners we've had just offline, just getting away from it all. Like, you know, he's a big part of why I was able to grow the way I did as a coach.
Darvin, Dan Wicke again with the LA Times. Kind of a two-part question. There was not really a report, I guess. Anthony Hardaway told a reporter in Memphis today that Rasheed Wallace could be somebody that is, or he believes Rasheed Wallace is going to be joining your staff. I guess, what's the status of that? And then what is sort of the staffing going to look like? Are you looking for coaches, somebody with head coaching experience to add to the staff? Kind of what's your view of what that's going to look like on your bench?
Well, you know, me personally, and I shared this with Rob and Kurt and everybody that was on the basketball committee during the interview process, is like, I like coaches that like to roll up their sleeves, are going to be able to get out there. Like, where I come from the last 9 years, we did everything. We did player development, we did scouting, I had to step in as the head coach on a few occasions, but it was a team. It wasn't no coordinators on either side of the ball. We all pitched in on all aspects of our team basketball, offensively and defensively. So I'm looking to build that similar type of staff. And in regards to Rasheed, that's an active situation. That's fluid. We're still working through that. That's not true at all, but you know, he's definitely a candidate that we'll take a look at. But we're working through that. Like we have a list of names and some people that's currently under contract, and we're working with some really talented young coaches, and we're working through that to try to put together the best staff possible.
Darvin, Bill Orem with The Athletic again. We've talked about LeBron and Russ, but I'm curious what your view specifically of AD is and how to, maximize his potential and talent with this group and in your system.
I think he's the key. Like, he's the key. We've all seen what can happen when he's healthy, when he's playing at a high level. He's in a good rhythm. We saw it in the bubble. His skill set, his size, his versatility, his defensive acumen, like his relentlessness, his ability to give multiple efforts defensively is key. It's going to be the foundation of the type of standard we set within a quote-unquote Darvin Ham era. Like, it's going to be built on that defense, and he's going to be the main piece, the centerpiece of it. LeBron is always going to be great. LeBron is going to be LeBron. Russ is going to be Russ. But we need consistency out of Anthony Davis. We need him to be healthy. We need him to be in a good mental space, and we need him to be consistent as possible, back to playing that championship-type basketball at that level. And we're going to do everything in our power to support him and give him whatever he needs and keep him moving forward, and again, getting stronger as the season gets longer.